Alexa, stop, please. Let's see, am I recording here? Hello, kids, if you're listening. Just want to make sure I'm recording here. Looks like I am. Okay, so I think I've got people muted so far. I don't know what just happened there, but I'll admit people as they show up here. Just lost my classroom page. Where'd it go? Let's try refreshing it here. There it is. Okay, so I'm going to describe I want to talk about the presidential scandal essay again, because I made a couple changes. Just thought about some things over the weekend, maybe make it a little bit more structured for you. And then I want to talk a little bit about the paper. And then I'll give you time to ask me questions. Actually, why don't I talk about the presidential scandal essay, give you a chance to ask me questions, and then we can talk about, then I'll talk about the research paper, and then give you time to ask me questions for that. And if I'm pausing, it's because I'm admitting people, at least people I recognize. There's one name here I don't recognize. So I'm going to apologize right now, but I'm not going to admit. It might be a parent. I don't know, but I don't. If a person only sends me one first name, I'm not going to admit them, because sometimes there are people joining these Zoom sessions who shouldn't be. At least that's what they tell us on their website. So I need more information before if I'm offending someone. There's someone here whose name I don't recognize that I'm not going to admit. And they need to give me a little more information in their name before I'll admit them. Anyway, okay, so, all right, so scrolling down the page here, right? So this is our page. We've got the essay here. Instructions. Look at that. Somebody already turned it in. And so here's the instructions, right? And then here's the main instruction sheet. So here's what I did. I talked about this a little bit last week. So, oops, that's a research project. I want to look at the scandal essay first. Okay, so I talked a little about this last week. So this is your test essay, right? And you can use sources that you find on it, hopefully reliable and good ones. If there's a source you find that you got a question about, let me know, and we'll talk about it. But what I did, once again, is I assigned you a thesis statement. Just basically fill in the blank. Fill in the blanks. This will be the start of your essay. This really should be the first sentence of your essay. Okay. What I thought I would do, so sometimes over the weekend, you evaluate things as a teacher and you look at stuff and you plan stuff. And I thought that maybe we should view this as kind of a warm up for the format for your final paper. Okay. So what I did is I put this instruction on here in bold. Okay. So the format for the paper should be introductory paragraph, multi-paragraph paper body that provides 3 supporting arguments. I thought that would help kids. And then a concluding paragraph. Okay. And that could be a good format. Now, obviously your final paper is bigger than this, right? It's supposed to be at least 5 pages. But you can kind of use the same format for that, maybe more arguments since it's more pages. But I thought that would be a good idea to just kind of give you an idea of what to expect from this, and kind of view this once again as a warm up for your final paper, which I'll talk a little bit more about here shortly. Okay, so once again with this is due by the end of the day on Thursday, but remember, due dates are flexible right now. That's what the administration has instructed us to do. So if you're having problems or you've got technology issues or whatever, just send me a communication and I'll totally work with you on that. Due dates are important still. I mean, even though they're flexible, because you need to keep pace and I need to keep pace. But just let me know if you have any issues. And my honor students, most of them have been great about communicating with me, so please keep that up. So once again, you've got 15 scandals here. You can choose any one you want. I have had some kids ask me about some through email or remind. Once again, the one you may want to do is Watergate, because I gave you a lot of notes on that, but that's up to you. I would imagine a lot of kids will do Watergate, but you can do any one you want. I mean, if you're a person who leans Republican, you can criticize a Democrat here, right? If you're a Democrat, you can criticize Republican. If you don't know, just find the one that you're most interested in, or maybe the one you think that is actually the worst. That might be a good way to do it too. Or maybe, um, once again, Watergate, since I gave you notes on that, and that might be fresh in your brain. So if everybody does Watergate, that's okay. But I have had students ask me about others. Okay, once again, this would have been a fun bracket challenge, I think, if we were meeting every day in class. Don't forget about the writing rules down here. Okay. Once again, length is just 1 to 2 pages. Although with this format, you could very well find yourself going onto that second page, right? With the intro, multi-paragraph paper body, which multi-paragraphs is just 2. It can be more, so don't panic, right? And then your concluding paragraph. So this should be at least, based on that format, it should be at least 4 paragraphs. Okay. All right, I'm going to unmute everybody and see if anybody has any questions about this assignment before I talk about your research paper a little bit, because I made some adjustments to that as well. Okay, any questions about the presidential scandal essay? And I'm dramatically pausing here. And once again, continue to send me messages if you have questions about it, right? And you've got a couple days yet. Oh, the other thing of this that I forgot to mention, kids, is this is, so once again, this is your test for this unit. So also on Thursday, you'll see quizzes, questions posted. I did type that up over the weekend, or make that up over the weekend. There's 28 multiple choice there, 1 multiple select. So check all that apply, and then 1 fill in the blank. But you can use your notes, okay? So you can use your notes on the quizzes, questions, or your text. So it's an open book, open note test. Okay? So,
I turned in. Sorry.
What, you got a question, James?
I just want to let you know that the thing that I turned in wasn't my essay. It was a thing that for my birthday, my mom actually wrapped my birthday gift in a newspaper from 1974.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about Nixon's presidency, and it's like really old, and I thought I'd give you a picture of it.
I saw the picture. I thought that was really cool.
It was really funny.
I appreciate you sharing that with me. I mean, what was neat about it is it's so relevant to what we've been talking about. And like the entire page was all Nixon, right? It was Nixon resigns, gives a tearful speech, even talked about some of the debt issues he's dealing with as he leaves presidential office. So it's kind of cool that, it was very cool that you showed that to me. So I appreciate it. And here's another student here. Give me a second. So yeah, I mean, it'd be nice if we were meeting every day. You could bring that in and tell us about it for bonus points. Which I don't know, maybe we could still do something.
I saw one on there that, like, child out of wedlock. What does that mean?
Well, the scandal of, and understand, I tried to come up with 15 of these, so some are better than others. But when Grover Cleveland, now the one trivial pursuit thing you need to know about Grover Cleveland is he's the only president in United States history who served 2 non-consecutive terms, right? So he was president for 4 years, lost an election, ran again 4 years later and won. Okay. While he was president, now I can't remember without looking it up, but while I can't remember if it was his first or second term, Jacob. But while he was president, the scandal was that he had an affair, right, and had a child with a woman who wasn't his wife, who was considerably younger than him. So, scandal, maybe a little bit similar to the Clinton impeachment. Now, Grover Cleveland was never impeached, but it was kind of a big deal, particularly back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, you know, because those things weren't supposed to happen, right? Particularly for president of the United States. So, if you want to do that when you can, there's plenty of information on it. So, and some of it may be how you guys feel about some of these things, right? You know, some of these things deal with, like I had a student earlier today ask me about, it was Wayne, he asked me about a few different ones he was thinking about doing. And out of his list, I said, if it were me, Now, to be honest, if it were me, I would probably choose Watergate, right? Because we just talked about it. But another one that I would be very interested in is number 8, because it deals with the suppression of people's liberties during World War One, and that's a topic that I'm just personally interested in. You know, should people's civil liberties be restricted during war? Right. I think that's an interesting question. Uh, you can argue several different ways on that. But and that's basically what Wilson did with the Espionage and Sedition Act, says he silenced anyone, even had some people arrested, imprisoned, who spoke out against the war. So, um, so that's, controversial as well. So it might just depend what you guys are interested in. Maybe you want to do a topic that you're interested in. If you have already completed your paper and submitted it, and before I put this instruction on there, please feel free to submit another copy. I do want you to turn in the copy of this paper to 2 different places. I want you to turn in here, excuse me, and then I've created a turnitin.com submittal as well. So I want you to turn it on turnitin.com. Okay, almost forgot to mention that. Just because, and once again, I don't think any of you kids would do this, but it's happened to me before with kids I've trusted. But this is one you could be tempted to just peel off, a big chunk of information off the internet and just boom, copy and paste, because I'm sure there's articles online about the worst scandal in presidential history. So I want to prevent that. So make sure you submit it on turnitin.com. If you have any issues doing that, just send me a message and I'll try to fix it. If I can't fix it, it won't hurt you, but just let me know. Okay. That'll work okay. All right. Any other questions about the scandal essay?
I had a question.
I might have an answer.
So, do we need a counter excuse me?
I'm not requiring.
Argument.
I'm not requiring that, and I love that you kids ask that question, and maybe I should require it, but I'm not requiring it. The reason why I'm not requiring it, and I thought about that because I know it's very important to teach kids how to address counterclaims, right? The reason why I didn't require that is because there's 15 here, so it's kind of like, well, what are you going to say? Well, the Watergate scandal was the worst, but some say, 14 others are. I just thought it'd be a little too unwieldy to do that. Or, I mean, I guess maybe pick one, but I just didn't think it was necessary, I guess. So, great question, Sophia. Anybody else? Okay, let me talk to you again. I'll tell you what, I'm going to try and mute you again here while I say some things, just because there's a little bit of interference. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go to, all right, so this is your research project, which really it's not a project now, it's just a paper because we're not going to be able to do presentations because we can't meet together. But I wanted to point out a few different things, and I've already talked about this a little bit, but I want to point out a few different things. Oops, I got to change that there. I'm going to go down to the dates here because I did change some of the dates. I think my bosses would like it if I, pushed it till June 5th. So the paper's not due until June 5th now. Originally it was June 1st. Okay, but I pushed it back to June 5th, which maybe you like, maybe you don't. Maybe you're happy to be getting done earlier, but I did push it back to June 5th. And for me, that does allow me to cover a little more content. But what I'm going to tell you is we will not be covering any more content by, hold on one second. Let me open up school calendar here. So there's my screen. Here we go. So when we get to, paper time, so when we get to here, okay, we'll be done with any new assignments. So this time here is all paper writing time. So basically, I mean, I guess you could say the 23rd if you wanted to start Memorial Day weekend, or maybe do some reading Memorial Day weekend, all the way through June 5th. Okay. And you can turn that paper in on midnight, June 5th. I've been letting you guys do that. If you finish at 11:59, turn her in. Now, that is something I will not accept late. Okay, I know due dates are flexible, but the paper, I need that. And it's kind of the end of the school year anyway on June 5th, technically, because these are the exams here, right? I mean, actually, the exams start here, but as of right now, I can give you to June 5th. But I need those papers because once again, it takes a while to grade them. But I've still got, if you look at the calendar, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days to grade them, right? I can be done by the end of this day with those papers. Okay. So I pushed it back to June 5th, still some time that I can grade those. Okay. So your paper's now due June 5th. And I didn't change that date at the top. I changed it down here. All right. So I'm hoping, I do have some kids yet. Most of my honor students have given me topics. I think there's a few who haven't yet. I'm hoping they say something to me today. Your resources would be due by May 12th. And all that is, kids, is, okay, Ms. LaCasco, I found these sources. What do you think? Now, May 12th is here. Okay. The reason why I want you to have your sources by then is because that kind of forces you to not wait till last minute to at least start looking at them, right? So, and it also gives me time to make sure that the resources are good. Now, I can't be as picky on resources because of our current situation. You know, I don't know if you guys can go to Ritter Library right now, for example, but I still want to make sure that they're good sources and not some, I don't know, conspiracy theorist or something who is making up stuff. Okay, so that's why I want you to just let me know what your sources are on May 12th, even if you haven't started reading them or looking at them yet. It gives me some time, and it gives you some time to look at them. Okay, so I mentioned sources, right? And you're probably wondering, so let's see, so papers are due on June 5th. Let me change that date right now because I forgot to change it up here. Apologize for that. Okay. What we're looking for is, you know what, I was going to change that to. A little bit easier on you, is 4 reliable sources. Okay, 4 reliable sources. I would like you to still try to find one primary. And I know that could be tougher, but if you can find one speech or something like that, letter, James found a newspaper, right, from 1974. That's a primary source. So, you know, so one primary. So I want to reduce the source requirement because I can't get you to Ritter Library. So at least I don't think. Maybe they'll let you do that. But so 4 sources and 1 primary. Now, the high school library does have databases you can use, and they're very valuable for doing that. And I believe the login is Vermilion and Sailors for that. So the high school library does have some databases you can use. Okay, now what I want to do is just point out what's on here. And then at a later date, I'm going to record myself explaining a lot of this stuff in more detail because it actually takes a little while. All right, I'll give you an example. So, you know, the structure of the document is you've got topics, right? You've got your timeline and your due dates. Here's the topics that have been chosen so far. And what a great range of topics. Like, I'm really looking forward to these because there's so much there. You know, there's domestic issues, foreign policy issues, there's military conflicts, there's civil rights issues, there's some issues I haven't read about, and I'll be learning from you quite a bit, which is one of the reasons why I do these, because I learn from my students. So it's kind of nice. But just a lot of great choices. So I like the thought you put into your choices. So these are your research paper keys. And I'm not going to go through these in detail right now, but I will at a later date. It'll kind of be like my lecture of the week. Think of this as a checklist. Like as you formulate the paper or as you organize the paper and as you finish it, read through these and say, did I do these things? Did I meet these? Some of these don't result in a lot of points being missed. Some do. Okay. You'll see a lot of reference to a thesis statement. That's the most important thing you're going to be doing in this paper, is making an argument, trying to support your thesis. Once again, that's very important to me as a teacher, that kids learn how to do that. This is not just an informational paper. I can go on, any website and read information about these topics. What makes the paper uniquely yours is the argument that you are making. Okay. So pay attention to those points related to your thesis statement and sources in particular. Okay. Make sure, like if you look here, I don't want you to plagiarize. Okay. And high school students sometimes, or almost all the time, plagiarize at least a little bit, often unintentionally. They don't realize they're doing it. What would get you a 0 is if you had a tremendous amount of plagiarism. And Turnitin.com will tell me that. Okay. Due dates are very important. Obviously, the final due date of the paper being turned in is very important. But I'll detail those when we get there, or later on here. I will go through all those things and really kind of point out to you what I mean by them. It's going to be one of my recorded lectures. I really don't have time to do it right now. If we were in class, I would be presenting these to you and you would be asking me questions, and typically it takes all period. We spend all period just talking about how to write a paper. Okay. That's usually how it goes down every year. Okay. And then this is your rubric. Now, ignore the point totals on this. Okay. Because I want to reward kids who do this paper. And what I'm going to do, and remember, the scale's been adjusted. Our grade scale's been adjusted by the administration. But this paper is going to be worth enough points that you can't get an A in the course if you don't do it. So I want to reward those honor students who are still putting in a quality effort, and most of you are, but some are not. And so I want this paper to be important. So it's going to be worth enough points that you can't get an A if you don't do it. Okay, so ignore those, ignore the points on the rubric, but it gives you an idea of what I'm looking for, and notice the stress on the thesis again. Okay. All right, I'm going to unmute everybody now. At least I think I am, and see if you have any questions about that. And then I'm done. Okay, anybody have questions about the research paper right now? Okay, and that's fine. Like I said, I'll be doing a recording of myself later on. Probably, let's see, let's go to the dates here. When should I do that? I guess I'll probably do it probably the week before you start writing. Okay. If you start writing earlier, maybe you're one of these kids who want to write earlier and you don't understand what I mean by some of these requirements, just send me a message. Sometimes kids want to start papers earlier. That can be a good idea, because then you can go back to it. There's a lot of stuff I write, sometimes stuff I post on social media, I'll look at a few times before I post it. Okay. So, just let me know. But I'm thinking probably the best time to do this, where I really detail all these keys, and kind of like one of my recorded lectures, is probably the week before you write. So probably sometime in here is when I'll do that. Okay. All right. No questions? Okay, kids. Hope you're doing well. You have a test kind of sort on Thursday. It's open note, open book. You'll have some quizzes, questions, and then you'll need to turn in your presidential scandal essay by the end of the day. Communicate with me if there's any issues or concerns. Remember to turn in that presidential scandal essay on Google Classroom and Turnitin.com. And I'll get them graded as quickly as I can, but you might have to be a little bit patient on those. Might take a little longer to grade those. And I guess that's it. Yeah. Oh, there will be another post on Thursday, but that'll be like your homework assignment that's due at the end of the day Tuesday. Okay, so don't panic if you see that post like, oh my gosh, there's so much I got to do on Thursday. That'll be due by the end of the day Tuesday. So your next assignment, your first assignment of the next unit. Okay. All right, kids, take care of yourselves. I hope everybody stays well. I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting. If a question pops into your beautiful brains in the meantime, send me a message and I will answer as quickly as I can. All right. Take care, kids.
Bye.
Bye.